Yep, in the old days, long time ago, there was stiff competition. You could call it blood cutthroat competition. Um, in the old days, when things were new and we were just like starting out and things were getting whatever, um, in the old days, if you wanted to put someone out of business, what you did was you bombed their factories. I didn't really do that so much. I mean, I did bomb a few, but not really. I mean, like I said, my RAF pilots did it really, and you know they're really good, honorable people, and they wouldn't bomb civilians or people. They would bomb like certain things. But back in the old days, you know, if you wanted to put someone out of business, what you do is you'd bomb them. I didn't partake in that really. I just did it for like if they were you know certain things, but not really. Like I say, I might have done it a little bit, but I don't think I did it really because like you know it doesn't do any good. And besides, I owned most things anyway, so mostly I was getting bombed a lot. But I mean, I always got bombed. But anyway, though, but yeah, and you know, I mean, it's just one of those things basically. But basically, back in the old days, like some people were cutthroat, and they would literally cut your throat, and they would bomb like the city, like the factories and the old steam engines. Although not so, you know, they wouldn't bomb me so much because like, I mean, I really disliked it, and I would usually like pretty much shoot down whoever bombed me. So, but it did happen. I mean, but I mean, I don't know. It gets kind of confusing, you know. Because like you know, I mean, there's all this stuff and it's just stupid and like I don't know, you know, I mean, like children fighting pretty much, and some of the people like they didn't care. They would just, you know, whatever it took to get them out of business, just do it, and they would be like that, and I'd be like, what the f, you know, and luckily I was able to defend myself, so, you know, it didn't really, I mean, I built a lot of I mean, I was the inventor and builder of a lot of the steam engines and steam stuff and mining equipment and stuff like that. And I had some of the biggest mines. And mostly, you know, it was people trying to bomb me or trying to bomb someone nearby me. So, anyway, though, but yeah, building size steam engines. There's a lot of them. And they're pretty big. Although usually most of them were kind of the smaller ones, like like the size of a big mansion, basically, and then there were the really big ones, which were like the size of cathedrals, you know, and or bigger. Although a lot of the big ones were actually inside of mountain sides, like you'd walk in, like they'd go up to a mountain and basically they would hollow out the mountain, and pretty much put in the big steam pipes, and then they would put in the big flat thing so you could just run in with bulldozers, you know, and grade it all down, and then you'd light it up, you know, and then it would provide steam. And I had a few of those, you know, and then that would run the other mining operation. Like you'd have one of those in one section of the mine, and then and that would provide power and everything for the rest of the section of the mine. And you have like mine chutes going up, you know, and then and you have a big steel door that you'd close, and basically that would provide heat or whatever. It's like a steel. It's brick, and then you have a steel shell on the outside, and the steel just holds the brick in place, and basically the brick protects the steel from the heat. And I think there'd be like a channel and a water trough or something like that to keep the steel from getting hot, you know. And then the brick would just take the heat, and then you have the steel on the outside. And then you'd close that, and then you'd light it up, and then the fire would burn, and it would heat up the pipes above it, and then that would provide your steam pressure for your dynos or your sometimes you did steam drill, or what they would do is they'd use the dynos and the electrical wires, and then they would be mining, and the electric would go to a hydraulic system, and then that would be what they mined. But at first, in the beginning, they just used the steam, you know, directly the steam pipes. But you know that providing like getting a 2-inch steam pipe to a drill rig, you know, drilling into mountain is kind of a problem. We have swivel fittings and stuff like that, but it would leak, and then you Ah, you know, and, oh, great. So that would happen, and then and we had blast shields and everything else like that. So, or steam shields they called it. So if the steam fitting broke or leaked, you know, the operator wouldn't get a face full of steam, as they say. And then later on we switched over to electric. Of course, you know, that's electricity, and then you get fried. Oh. We'll get it eventually. And then that goes to a hydraulic system. And because, you know, you're in a mine, there's water everywhere. And you got the electricity, and you're standing in the water, the cable in the water, and you know, it's like, it's bad enough. You get a steam pipe that just breaks or twists on you, and then, you know, when the steam pipes would go, they would go. And you know, like flash cook 300 people. Well, 5 or 6, you know, basically. They would joke about it, about it. But I mean, it was. I mean, usually it was always a bad thing though. But and the people would be paid and all that other stuff. But yeah, and then that was dangerous. So we switched over to the big copper or gold and copper wire. I think we used gold wire, gold and copper, or something like that. We used a couple different elements, you know, to make up the wire that would basically go, and then we'd wrap it with rubber. Or oil and rubber and tar or something like that, and then made these big lines. And we were working on that, you know, getting that all fixed up. And then, you know, and then we go to the hydraulic system, which was like a whale oil, I think. I think we used like maybe a whale oil and tar setup or something to create the first oil, first hydraulic oil or something. Because water would compress and it would foam and bubble. So we needed something that wouldn't compress and wouldn't foam, and that was oil, fat, pig fat. So we used pig fat, I think, and whale oil or tar, you know, and we used alcohol to get it slippery and dissolved. So, and there was a process to that, like they would dump it in, and then they would put in the alcohol, and then they would mix it up and cook it really good. And then, you know, I had my oil specialist. They would cook up the stuff and get it just right. And then they would dump it out and then and sift it. And then you'd have good oil, you know, and that would be sold as lamp oil and also hydraulic oil, which we would use, you know, in the mining. Anyway, and then, you know, and then making the viscosity a little thicker. You know, and then for the different things, because depending on where you need to be, what you need to do. Anyway, though, but yeah, you know, I had my experts on that, and they would do that. So, and it was a mixture of pig fat, whale oil, and tar, and with a little bit of alcohol, with some alcohol. They'd put the alcohol in there, and then they would put the pig fat, and then they would cook it up real nice and good. You know, and I would laugh. I'm spending out like $50, $100, you know, like 1 year's wage, and like picking it up real good. It's like, oh. Anyway, but yeah, you know, I mean, my people like to joke with me and jest as they say, and stuff. And you know, I mean, I was in business, so couldn't complain. I mean, you know, Lucifer Star, got my name everywhere, got my name in lights. Yeah, but yeah. Even named myself a country, America, and Lotus and stuff. So, even built a ship and named it after my father, Rodney. Never name anything after your relatives. I learned that the hard way. So anyway, yeah, and but yeah, and lots of the steam engines are still around, and I had some bigger ones. I had some really massive ones, and made some, not from, like at first we also used like granite. I used a lot of granite, and because I think granite's a little tougher than fire brick or something like that, and so I used that for some. But then we got the fire brick, which is also just as good. And I mean, I had a lot of them. I had a lot of them.